we want to get this development. Sorry, the light went off. The proposal is that we want to get a development done. That's what we did. We put this, we moved this motion, but we have some concerns about details. So that's where we are now. My view is the best opportunity is to send it back to the Chair's Committee and get them to look at these details that we're going to specify and get those clear. And that gives us a good opportunity to do the final negotiation, have Mr. Morrison refine whatever those points are and bring it back. Those are the 3 or 4 points, whatever they are. Bring them back, and I like the idea. So I'm going to move that we table both the amending motion and table the original motion that we, and send it back subsequent to, with another motion specifying the detail that we want the committee to concern themselves with, to address, so that we can have that discussion done by the committee and then come back to council and finally vote. And I agree with Councillor Sparkman. Then, in a business-like way, give the developer, here, this is it, there's the answer.
To our solicitor, would that require, I heard a combined tabling motion. Is that possible, or should we do one and then the second one?
It would be neater if it were done separately.
That's what I thought.
I'll move the, that we table the amending motion, and leave it at that.
I'll second that motion.
So we're not able to debate that now. Okay. So do I hear a question on tabling the amended motion?
Question.
Question called. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. I declare the motion passed. And are you now prepared?
Yes, I will move that we table the original motion in favor of the development and table it. That's it.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay. Seconded. Do I hear a question?
Question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, at this point, we still have the work to be done in terms of, well, we have to put a motion to send it back to committee. And then after that piece of work, we'll have to come up with some specifics we want them to work on. Okay. Have a motion?
I move that we figure out, we have very clear direction first before we send it to any maybe this is a sloppy motion, but we need to figure out exactly what it is we're looking for. And at this point, we haven't done that yet. And I would really like to, I really hate to leave this room tonight without knowing exactly what we're asking the committee, the developer, and our director of planning to figure out.
It's my understanding of procedure, however, we need to put the motion on the table, second it, and then we have that specificity. Okay? So
You don't want a motion with specifics in it.
no, well, I think we have to have the motion first and the second, and then we'll put the specifics in.
My question is, are we able to discuss and figure out around this table what we want it to be without a motion, there's currently no motion. Do we have to have a motion before we can discuss what we would like the changes to the building to be?
Again, we're not going to be that specific in terms of us deciding what they shall decide. What we need to do is say what we need the committee to look at. Is that not what we're wanting to do?
I think we need more than what we need the committee to look at, because the committee has already looked at some of these very same elements, and we weren't entirely happy with their recommendations. So we need, I feel that if the committee comes back and says, yeah, we need to be very specific. We need to say it has to be 10% smaller and it has to have these details.
Well, then why wouldn't we just do that?
That's what I'm asking. Can we do that?
Yeah.
No,
Let me try a motion.
okay.
I move that we refer this
development agreement.
development agreement back to the Community Development Committee to assess and address, one, the facade to render it consistent with the town's development guidelines. Two, the density and mass to ensure it is consistent with the town's bylaws. And three, the use of accommodation for tourism use. I'm not sure about that third one, but that is certainly one that's come up subsequent to the end of the CDC process. It came up at the very end. So those seem to be the three outstanding ones that I was in hearing.
Okay. Do we have a seconder?
I'd just like some clarification. The first two I agree. The
Make it friendly.
third one, the friendly amendment would be mix of dwelling types. That's what we're talking about in the amendment. That's what we should.
That was another thing, but this issue of the use of accommodation and the implications for our tourism accommodation sector is an issue that came up very late in the process. I think only by the time it came to council, not when it came to CDC. So that issue has emerged, was not addressed. So maybe there's four.
I'll ask other members of council. I see there is three. The third is mix of dwelling units. However,
Again, push your button again, sir.
I see it as, the third one is mix of dwelling units. That's the one I would like to have the CDC look at what we did.
Mix of dwelling units with regards to size.
Yes.
Size of apartments.
Yes, as it's explained in this memo.
Okay. First of all, are people okay with the friendly amendment? Well, I guess I have to ask the mover.
I'm fine.
Okay. Go ahead.
You don't have a second, do you?
Not at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking the
Any,
friendly amendment
Okay.
person was second.
if those are the three,
What are we doing about the tourism accommodation?
that's where you have to discuss. I thought that was resolved, so I'm not sure about that one. I'd like to hear from other
Still getting
members of
close.
council. But I like what your effort is. Yes, tell us.
Oh, yes, tourism use. So you think that it can be, that we can nail this down further? Obviously, we can see how to do actually.
I just don't feel that we have fully given that sector their opportunity during the lead up to the plan, during your recommendation.
Okay, I'd be amenable to that. And is the CDC being directed to only consider these four,
Three. Or is there four now?
well, mixed dwelling use units, tourism use, density, facade, and its conformity with
That's four.
guidelines? That's four, okay.
I think we're specifically asking that those be addressed. I don't know that we're limiting it to
I'm
that.
happy with that, yeah.
That's how I read this. Okay.
So let me read it again, if I may,
Yeah.
and he'll.
Yes.
So, I move that we refer back to the Community Development Committee, this development agreement to assess and address, one, the facade to render it consistent with the Town of Wolfville's architectural development guidelines for downtown. Two, density and mass to ensure that the building is consistent with the town's bylaws. Three, use of accommodation for tourism. And four,
Mix of,
Apartment
mix
size.
of dwelling unit types.
and I guess,
Apartment size.
Lorraine, if you can add, I'm sorry, at the beginning, at minimum, I guess, would fit Councillor
Well,
Rainbow's.
it seems to me that when we're asking them something, it isn't necessarily limiting it to those things.
Okay.
Okay. So do I have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Do I hear a question?
Questions?
Question being called. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? I declare the motion passed. Director Morrison, you feel comfortable with the proceedings?
Well, I'm sure the committee will do their best to carry out council's wishes.
Okay. I would